So how is working in South Africa different from any of the other locations that you filmed or directed in?
Well, some of these locations are, they're pretty rough areas. We're shooting in some remote locations. Some of them are hard to get to. It's a hike to get to some of these places. Since this is a world that's unsettled, a lot of the locations we're shooting in are rough, rocky. So, you have to be really careful where you step. We're shooting on some of the seashores, some of the rocks. And, you have to be careful where you are there. Very uneven ground, but beautiful landscapes. I mean, I'm blown away every morning driving to work, seeing the mountains here, growing up in Newark, New Jersey, mountains is a new thing for me. Growing up, I didn't see a mountain until I moved to California, and I was in my 40s when I moved to California, so it's, it's crazy. But now, you see these beautiful, beautiful landscapes, these mountains that are crowned by clouds. And, you get, I'm taking so many photographs because the landscapes are gorgeous. I can see why they wanted to shoot here because, sometimes you look at the top of the mountain and you see the clouds move as if it's like live time lapse, and just some really, really beautiful areas. So it's, since we're shooting it's supposed to be a unexplored territory, everything's supposed to look, brand new and virgin. We're taking what's there, but the art department, the construction on the show is huge because they're building alien plant life, alien trees that we're going to put into some of these desert areas. And visual effects is going to do a lot of other stuff. So, it's pretty big.
So is this the most challenging location that you've shot in your career?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not allowing myself to feel that way, but it's definitely the most design intensive show I've ever done. Because I've been, it's now March and I've been involved in the design on this since November. When I first got the job, until we came out here in February, I was doing a lot of Zoom calls. But every morning I would wake up, because of the time difference, because it's morning there, but it's nighttime here. And, I'd wake up and I'd get all these emails from the art department that was here, doing conceptual art. And so we had a lot of conceptual drawings that were coming down the pike, designs of craft, designs of living structures, designs of building, designs of costumes, selection of different areas where we could shoot, some of which, were beautiful, but almost impossible to get to. We have one location that you can only access by helicopter.
Oh.
So I'd never had that challenge before. Walking Dead used to be the most challenging show because of shooting in Georgia woods in the summertime with the heat and humidity. Now this is an entirely different animal.
Great. So that was going to be my next question about, as director, how do you add to the look of the world that you direct? So you mentioned working with the scene crew, the guys who are crafting the different sets. How much of your say-so changes that or enhances?
Quite a bit. It's been, they ask me, I've been involved in all of it, and asking for suggestions, as, things like the color of the landscape start locking in, and start working up, well, what are the colors of the structures of the costumes that can work in that color of the landscape? The visual effects shots, since I am storyboarding everything, the way I want to shoot it, I'm also visualizing the visual effects sequences. So I'll do stuff and I'll get feedback saying, okay, we can do this. Or they'll say, no, that's too expensive. We can't do that, So I got to rethink it and reconceptualize. I'm working on a sequence now that involves things like an alien bird. In the script, it was one of the main characters grabs the alien bird. He's starving. He's surviving on his own in this environment, and he breaks its neck, and he wants to drink its blood, because he's starving and he's thirsty. But knowing that actually CGIing a living bird with flapping wings in his hand is going to be more expensive, I had to, redesign that sequence. So now it's like the alien bird sits on a rock. All of a sudden a stone comes, hits it in the head, it falls dead. And then the actor comes over and picks up a dead bird that we've planted there. Just little things like, wings flapping on a CGI bird with a real actor in the same shot adds thousands and thousands of dollars to it.
Right.
So, you get stuff like that and say, well, we can't afford this. And, so I got to redesign. Well, how about this? I say, okay, you can do that, and this and that. So there is a budget that we have to conform to. So luckily I started storyboarding this months ago. So I was able to get ahead of things. But, we have some big physical live effects too. Like I have a cave that I have to flood with water with people in it. And I just saw the tests today and it's looking great, but it's big, it's big. But it's the kind of stuff I wanted to get into movies get into movies for in the first place,
Okay. Can you share with us the budget on this production? Are these two?
I don't know the actual budget.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know the effects budget is like $2 million, but it's a big show. I mean, we're building. We have 2 huge sets that are alien caves that are what used to be structures that were built. And actually the idea of that there was a previous civilization that actually grew their structures. And but these cave sets are huge. They're big, and we have a lot of stuff there. So the set design is huge. We have these tanks that we built that are actually these forestry machines that are supposed to pick up trees and pull them out by the roots. But we're using the actual structure of that, but we're building a bigger shell on top of that for this thing called a habit tank. And then the wheels keep it lifted about 2 feet off the ground, and we'll CGI out the wheels, and it will look like a hovercraft.
Wow, interesting. Very cool.
But we're going to do that in real locations that have rocky areas. So we don't want it to be rocky. So some of those roads have to be paved, but I have to design my shots ahead of time so we know what to pave and what not to pave, so it has a more smooth movement. So there's a lot of, figuring out stuff before it actually gets built, a lot of pre-visualization, which actually, my years in architecture at Howard really helped me to do that. So it all comes in handy.
Great.